Hi everybody, it's Karen here. I have got such a fun interactive die that I want to share with you today. It's new to me, but it's actually been out for a few months. It's from Lawn Fawn. It's their Swish, what is it called? A Swish and Pop pull tab die. It's quite inexpensive, but I can see so many fun cards in my future using this die. So this is what it is here. And that little piece with the little, I don't know, quarter pie on it, you cut out of acetate. That's the lever arm. And then this piece here is the pull tab part. Now I have doubled that one up because I always like it to be a little bit stronger and sturdier. And then I've also die cut the little tab to pull it open. And that's really all there is. This piece here is what you are going to use on the paper. It will just cut out the holes. You're going to use a couple of brads for this die. So you line it up with the right hand edge there and the bottom of the card. And normally you would not want it to go any lower than that. So lining it with the bottom is kind of important when you do it normally. I've modified this, of course. So this is how the mechanism is meant to go. You put the lever arm on the left there and the pull tab on the right, and then you use a mini brad to attach those two with the right hand hole on the lever arm, and then the hole that is remaining you put into the hole on the card. And so the way this mechanism actually is meant to work is when you pull that pull tab, the lever arm will swing over to the left. So your character will always go from the right side to the left. But I actually did not want that. I wanted it to go from the left side of my card to the right. So I had to work this one out a little bit. I thought if I put them in the opposite holes, which is what you're going to see here. So I'm going to put the pull tab into the far or the topmost hole on the lever arm, on the clear acetate arm, and then attach that on the bottom to my card. And it actually worked. It swings it the way I wanted. So now you can see the clear lever arm will swing from the left side of the card to the right. It sort of has an arc that goes on the top as opposed to on the bottom. So that's why I think you could move this down a bit if you needed a bit more room. But I didn't for this card, so I've left it there. So I've used the frog stamp set from Gerda Steiner Designs, and I've colored them in and die cut them out. And you can see here I did a bit of partial die cutting on a scrap piece of acetate because I wanted all that confetti to be as if he's throwing it out and it's above his head. So I've used confetti. I think mine was from the Greetery, but whatever you have in your stash. And I'm just, I've got some temporary adhesive on my frog, and I'm sort of lining him up here where I want him to end up. And I'm trying to figure out where to put this confetti at this point. So you can see when he comes down to the left there, you can see where the edge of the card is going to be, and you don't want to go past that. So I'm just attaching all this confetti and stars to the point where it will not come out of the card. And then I just fussy cut that out, and I tried to keep fairly smooth edges so that nothing would catch when it goes in and out behind the front of the card. So once he's cut out, all that's left is that you need to put a little piece of double-sided tape on the clear acetate. But I'm just lining him up here, trying to make sure he doesn't go over the left side. That's the part that I kind of was trying to make sure of at this point. And that, I believe, is 1/4 inch double-sided tape. It just fits perfectly. And so then I'm just going to glue him on, attach him down. That lever arm is really quite long, and I think if you did a slimline card, you could use some of that extra length. This is an A2 size card, so I didn't need it. So once you're sure that he's okay in that position, you just need to trim off that extra little piece of lever arm. Now I'm checking on that pull tab on the right. I was trying to make sure it was horizontal, and then I just trimmed it off There is a die in this set that will cut out a small indentation in the card itself, but I prefer to have the lever arm sticking out. It's a little easier to grab, I find. So I've just cut it this way, and I've used that little arrow piece that will show people what to do. Now this is my pond. It's a little piece of alcohol inked laminated folder that I've put a white piece of cardstock in behind. And I'm just making sure that everything will cover up that frog that's hidden underneath. So I've got a piece of grass there that was die cut. I think it was a paper rose die. And the bulrushes are from the Lucky Duck stamp set from Gerda Steiner Designs. So I'm now going to glue the bulrushes to that cloud. And the cloud is sitting up on top of the water. So it's in the foreground and just gives you a bit more room to let that frog hide behind it. Now I've put some glue on the back of that frog and his lily pad, and I'm just attaching him to the front of the pond there, just making sure he's covering up the other frog. And I've already stamped and clear heat embossed the sentiment. I believe it's from MFT's Yay stamp set. And I've cut the hands off this little frog because I want him to look like he's trying to climb out of there. So he's such a funny frog, that one, and I just wanted him to look like he was trying to make a getaway. So I'm just going to attach on the left side as well. There's one more bulrush that I had colored in, so I've got that on the left. And then all I have to do is put a little bit of glue on the front of that frog and attach him to the back of that sentiment strip. And once the little frog is glued down, all I had left to do on the front actually was just to glue the whole thing to the bottom of my pond. And that's the front done. So to assemble all of this now, you need some foam tape. Now, I've doubled up the foam tape. It just gives you a little bit more room, and I feel like with that lever arm being switched around, it was better to do for sure. And I think Lawn Fawn recommends that you double the tape too. So I've got double-sided foam tape there, and I'm just making sure that it's not interfering with where the frog is or how that lever arm moves. I don't think you'd want it too close to that because it sort of does angle around a bit, but underneath the pull tab, there is room to add a bit more foam tape. There really is not a lot holding this whole front piece down other than this foam tape. So you just want to make sure everything moves properly. Now, the frog can go all the way across, and that actually doesn't bother me, but if you didn't want him to go too far to the right, all you would do is position him where you want and then just take a small square foam tab and tuck it into the inside there so he butts up against that and he doesn't go any further over. But it really didn't bother me if he went a bit more. I kind of liked that he was leaping from one side to the other almost. So I've left it that way. I did find that if I put a little piece of, again, two layers of foam tape, but I've left the backing on this, and you can see I had to move it down a little bit. I just found that helped to sort of push that front pond piece away. I guess I would say that's how I would put it, but it just it didn't catch as much if I had that extra little piece of foam tape there. So I don't know if that's always the case, but it sure was with this one, and maybe it's because I had the grass and the cloud, but it did seem to help keep the front part away from the frog a bit better. So I don't know, maybe that's the way to go. But I don't take the backing off that, obviously, because it'll just stick right down. So the backing I've left on, and here I've removed the other pieces of backing, and I can just attach that, and that's the card done. So I just think that's the most fun little die. That it's so inexpensive. I think it was $17 US, which I don't think is very much for an interactive die. And all the possibilities that you can have with this. It's just, there's so much. It's really easy to move. It does wiggle around that lever arm a little bit, but it works. Now here's another card that I had done. I thought I would share. Just, it's the same idea. I wanted it's the frog again, and I wanted him from the left side coming over to the right. I'm not sure why I like it that way. Maybe you read from left to right and I just preferred that. But again, those are all Gerda Steiner Designs stamps, and I just thought that was really fun. I hope you guys will give this a try. Thanks for stopping by. See you next time.